Mobick Bear's story: The Two Worlds of Trust, Bonds and Bitcoin. Mobick Bear sat under a great glowing tree, its leaves shimmering with lines of blockchain code. The Mobickers gathered around as the digital wind carried his calm, deep voice. Once upon a time, he began, there was something the world called the safest asset. That was the U.S. Treasury bond, the debt of the most powerful nation on earth. People trusted it not just as an investment, but as the very unit of global trust itself. He looked up at the golden leaves above him. But, he said quietly, the stronger the trust, the more fragile it can become. Because all of it, every bit of global confidence, was tied to a single country, the United States. Mobick Bear traced a glowing circle in the air. In a market called the repo market, those bonds were traded back and forth, used again and again as collateral, like the same key, passed from one hand to another. It kept the system alive. Until it didn't. He sighed. In 2008, the gears jammed. The market froze. The world trembled. And again in 2020, during the pandemic. The same fear returned when even the safest trust began to crack. The Mobickers leaned closer. So, said Mobick Bear, some began to wonder, what if trust didn't have to rely on one government, one nation, or one paper promise? What if trust could live everywhere and nowhere at once? That's when the idea of Bitcoin appeared, the digital alternative, born out of the cracks in the old world. He lifted his paw, and golden bonds turned into glowing Bitcoin blocks. U.S. bonds, he explained, are stable and deeply liquid, but tied to America's political and financial fate. Bitcoin, meanwhile, is volatile, imperfect, and young yet free. It knows no borders. It trusts no government. It runs on mathematics and consensus alone. So which is better? A young Mobicker asked. Mobick Bear chuckled. Neither replaces the other. The truth, my friend, is that both will walk together for a long time. Two systems, two philosophies, spinning the same world in different ways. He paused, eyes glimmering. Even the mighty United States understands this. Did you know, he said softly, that the U.S. government holds more than 200,000 Bitcoin, much of it seized from criminals, but held nonetheless? That many of the world's biggest Bitcoin exchanges and mining farms operate right inside the U.S.? That over 35% of Bitcoin's global hash power hums within American borders? The Mobickers gasped. Yes, Mobick Bear said. Some even dream that one day, if Bitcoin's value keeps rising, a government might repay its debt with it. Sounds wild, doesn't it? But the fact that such thoughts are being calculated in Wall Street offices, that's the real story. The leaves rustled as he continued. And while everyone talks about Bitcoin, America's eyes are also on another thing, the stablecoin. A coin that holds the value of the dollar, but lives on the blockchain. These coins, like USDT or USDC, are used everywhere, especially in places where local money has lost its trust, like Argentina or Nigeria. Mobick Bear leaned closer. And here's the twist: these decentralized coins are actually strengthening the dollar's power, because the U.S. now plans to regulate them, so that every stablecoin must be backed by dollars or U.S. Treasury bonds. So the more people use stablecoins, he smiled, the more the world buys U.S. bonds. Brilliant, isn't it? The bear trap of global finance made of trust. The Mobickers chuckled in amazement. Mobick Bear's tone grew thoughtful. Once, America acted as the world's guardian, carrying the burden of every crisis. Now it's shifting, becoming more practical, managing trust like a careful gardener, not a savior. That's the new financial world taking shape. And beyond that world, he said, there's another vision rising where everything can become a token. Real estate, art, music, even talent. Broken into tiny pieces, tradable by anyone, anywhere. Imagine a world where a young Mobicker in Jekion could own a fraction of an apartment in Manhattan just with one click. The Mobickers' eyes widened. This is the world of tokenization, Mobick Bear said. A world where sleeping assets wake up. What the economist Hernando de Soto called dead capital. And when that happens, young people who can't access traditional wealth may finally have new doors open to them. He gazed into the digital horizon, where Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana symbols floated side by side. This is not just a story about technology or money, he said softly. It's a story about trust, value, and sovereignty. About rethinking who holds power and why. The old world runs on faith in governments. The new world runs on code. But both, Mobick Bear said, depend on the same thing: people's belief. He smiled warmly. So, my dear Mobickers, whether you invest in crypto or not, ask yourself this. What is value? What is trust? And where does your sovereignty truly live? He closed his book gently. Because in the end, Mobick Bear whispered, the future will belong to those who dare to ask those questions and build new answers. Thank you for watching. This is Pinoy signing off. BMB to the moon.